Hi guys, and welcome back. It's Jess and Shay here. I know that in our video last night we ended it saying that today we would share our story on how I lost Shaylin and the reason that I ended up giving her up for adoption, because I did lose her originally to drugs through CBS and then ultimately decided to sign over my rights with the intent for her to be given up for adoption. So I'm gonna go back and give you guys a little backstory. I'm not trying to like make any excuses. I'm accountable for my own actions. I know that at the end of the day, I make my own choices, but it doesn't change the fact that things that we go through in life trauma, like usually changes the course of your life, like the path that you would have gone on, or, you know, it just, I don't know, it changes you in some sort of way. So that's why I also think it's important to like speak about the trauma, the things that happened as a child, because then it kind of maybe explains a little bit of why I had such a hard time and I ended up giving her up. So I know that I shared before with you guys in a video that when I was a toddler, I was abused by my grandpa, and I had shared that with quite a few people in my family, and I wasn't protected, and in fact, I had to go back and stay with him quite a few times, and lots of people, people knew and just like nothing happened. So because of that, that was my first like big like traumatic thing that happened in my life, and because I wasn't protected and nothing happened, I feel like as a child it kind of like teaches you that, like, you know, you just be quiet and you just accept what happens and you just don't say anything and you just keep it to yourself, because what's the point of saying something anyways? So then fast forward to when I was 9, I moved in with my mom, my real mom, and my stepdad, and I had some new siblings, and I was introduced to like marijuana and cocaine and other drugs. I'm not saying by my parents, but like my parents definitely did things. They drank themselves and they partook in other activities. I'm not gonna throw them under the bus and say exactly what they did, but with siblings, older siblings, I was introduced to, you know, other drugs. Fast forward to moving back in with my dad when I was 14, I like really dove into the church because when I lived with my mom and I was doing drugs, a lot of horrible things happened. You know, I was hanging out with the wrong crowd and I was introduced to like a lot of awful things, and I was sexually abused and put myself in situations, you know, I went to parties and I drank, and I put myself in situations to where I wasn't in the right mind to say no, and things happened. And, you know, I'm not gonna say it's my fault, but like I did it to myself. If I wouldn't have snuck out of my house, if I wouldn't have left home, if I would have been at home with my parents sleeping in my bed like I should have, things wouldn't have happened. But anyways, fast forward to the whole, I deep dove into church when I moved with my dad, and then my pastor like fell in love with me, and it just was insane the way that I feel like my church kind of like turned on me, and I had to give a public apology to my church, and then that turned into me like just being super angry and like just not caring even more. And I don't know, when I was like, my whole life as a child, all I wanted to do was be a mom. Like if anybody asked me what my life goal was, as much as it was like, because adults would cringe because I would just be like, I just want to be a mom. Like that's all I wanted in life. I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to have 6 kids. I just thought that having people that were like my own people that were gonna love me and be mine forever for the rest of my life, like I just wanted that so bad. That was such a desire of mine. So then fast forward to 17, meeting this guy who I thought that I just was the coolest guy in the whole world and was gonna save me and had all these answers, and he said all the right things. And so I ran away from home and I moved in with him, which was actually his sister, her aunt, who was amazing. I will never speak ill about her. She was seriously, out of that entire family, the kindest person, and took me under her wing and loved me so hard and tried so hard to like guide me and honestly like kind of warn me about her own brother. So then I had Shaylin, and you know, I was sober the entire time I was pregnant with her. Had her, but her dad was still partaking in drugs, and you know, that was a struggle of mine, like, change and please change, and he just wouldn't. And I found out when I was like, I want to say 6 or 7 months pregnant, maybe I was younger, like maybe I was less far in my pregnancy, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, she's 19, so that was quite a while ago. That was a long time ago. But we had found out that he had gotten a 13-year-old girl pregnant, and he was 24 at the time. I was 17. And of course he told me that it wasn't true and that, you know, all the stories, all the things, it wasn't his fault. And, you know, I was young and naive, so I believed him. And then when this little girl was a month old, we were walking home from HEB because we didn't have a car, and we had groceries in the stroller, and I was breastfeeding her. And I'll never forget the officer pulling up and with his lights on and arresting him. And I was just like, what? Like, I don't understand, like, what's happening? And he was like, you know, you're under arrest. And he said it, you know, for aggravated sexual assault to a minor. So I knew that because we had to go do the DNA test and all that after the younger girl had her baby, that was my confirmation that he was the father and that he did lie to me. And then he wrote me a huge confession letter and told me all the stuff that he did while I was pregnant, which, I mean, we don't need to get into all that, but, you know, these things affect you. And so then I got with a guy that was like one of my high school sweethearts, and he introduced me to meth. And because I was a waitress, making $2.15 an hour, and I was just so tired. Like, I was the only person in a family full of like 4 people, and it was a drug home. I was the only person working, and as soon as I walked in the door, everyone was in my pockets wanting my money, because I was the one providing and taking care of everything. And then shortly, I want to say just a few weeks into my drug use, CPS was called, and I told them everything, and I was honest with them, and they took Shaylin from me that day. And I said, you know, I was doing all the classes. It's okay, baby. I was doing all the classes, all the anger management classes and all that to get her back. And, you know, I'd got an apartment, a car, like everything that they wanted me to do to get her back. I had a partner that was helping me. Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna wait until you come right back. Take a minute, because Mama had to go get my grandbaby. You guys, literally everything they say about being a grandma, 100% true. It is the best. It's like a do-over. Well, I mean, be a great mom. Maybe you don't need to have a do-over. Okay. This is my boys. This is my grandbabies. But I'm doing everything to get Shaylin back. And then, I don't know, my lawyer just told me her foster parents, like, they really, really, really want her, and, you know, they're stable, and, you know, they're gonna give her a good life, and she's never gonna struggle. And, you know, I was a waitress, like I said, making $2.15 an hour, and when I did have Shaylin before she was taken away, like, she was always with her babysitter 6 days a week. Like, on the days that I did have her, the one day a week I used to have to call her babysitter crying and be like, I don't know what to do, because I didn't know her routine, because I never had her, because I just had to work all the time, because that's what happens, you know, if you don't set your life up right and go to school and all that good stuff like your parents tell ya. The lawyer told me about everything that they had to offer, and I was like, how can I compete with that? Like, if she stays with me, she's gonna struggle. She's gonna have a lifetime of her and struggle, and with them, she's just gonna, like, with me, she's just gonna have a lifetime of struggle and a lifetime of just hardship. And, you know, with these people, like, they can give her, I mean, how do you compete with that? And so I just felt like that was, as much as it hurt, like, it killed me, like, who wants to give away their kid? That was literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it was for her. And the very next video that we're gonna be posting is how we found each other, and, you know, the struggles that came with that. Like, did we fight? Was she loving? Was she accepting right away? Was it hard for her? And Shayla's gonna share her perspective and talk quite a bit in that video. I know she didn't talk in this video. She's just kind of here for support, and she knows my story. I'm open, I'm honest. I don't lie to her about anything. I tell her what it is. I can't change it, but all I can do is do better from this day forward, and be the mom that she deserves now. So, until the next video, you guys. Bye.